Now, I'm guessing none of you are racing out to buy a funeral. Well, not by choice anyway, which makes marketing a real challenge for today's guest, who's a funeral director. Listen in as she explains how she's built a lively little business in just 18 months. It's dead simple. Oh, that's 2 dad jokes already.
Well, I said, welcome to a small business marketing show where successful small business owners share their souls to take your marketing straight to the lead. Now, here's your host, Mr. Timbo Reid.
Welcome back, listeners, to another episode of Australia's #1 marketing show. I am your host, Timbo Reid, but you, right there, walking the dog, driving to work, doing something you love, I hope, are a motivated small business owner ready to crank out some great marketing. And that is what we do on this show. That's why this show exists. And boy, oh boy, have we got a big show for you today. But before I tell you what we're going to cover, what about that intro? Another big thank you to Lockie Doley, who recorded that very kindly for me without me asking. Lockie is Jimmy Barnes's keyboard player, and he has just done a gig with the Rolling Stones. How cool is that? So, Lockie, mate, thank you so much for that, and well done on your newborn little fellow who joined us in this world about 6 weeks ago. Well done, mate. Hey, big show today, team. I am talking to a funeral director, and I'm looking forward to that chat. And she's a new funeral director too, only been in business 18 months, and has never done anything like that before. And she's built a thriving little business. That is an interesting chat. I've got a listener question. I'm going to shed some light on how to find more time to create a second income stream for a business in the Scottish Highlands. It's a terrible version of a Scottish accent, by the way. I have got a forum faux pas that I'm going to share with you that gave me a little bit of a chuckle. Inspirational quote of the week and some really big news on upcoming guests. I'm excited what is ahead. Righto, let the marketing gold start dripping from the ceiling.
Small Business Big Marketing with Tim Reid. smallbusinessbigmarketing.com.
Okay, before we get stuck into the listener question, which is an absolute ripper, I want to share with you 2 solutions to help lighten your marketing load. Number 1, net registry. Okay, if you are struggling with any aspect of your online marketing, if you are struggling with your website, with getting found on Google, with choosing the right domain name for your business or getting your website hosted, or maybe with Google AdWords, they are there to help you. Net registry, that's what they do. They get your online marketing sorted. So I encourage you to head over to netregistry.com.au and ask them what they can do for you in terms of that sometimes, often confusing world that is online marketing. You don't need to know it all because Net Registry do. netregistry.com.au and tell them Timbo sent you. Whilst on the topic of lightening your marketing load, head over to 99designs.com/SBBM. Why should you do that, you ask? Because if you have something you need designed in your business, then 99 Designs is the place to get it done. Unbelievably inexpensive, 7-day turnaround. We're talking getting business cards designed, brand identity packs designed, car wraps, t-shirts, brochures, websites, you name it. 99 Designs is where you do it. The premise is a design competition. That's right. You write a brief, which they help you with. You post the brief. You then get designers from all around the world responding to your brief with finished designs, not proposals, finished designs. Expect dozens and dozens of finished designs delivered to you for you to review and then award your prize money to the winning design after 7 days. It's pretty amazing. If you haven't tried it, I encourage you to do it. I found my designer all those years ago on 99 Designs. It's a fantastic service. And the great thing is 100% money back guarantee if you're not happy. So It's risk-free, team. If you have anything that you need designed, head over to 99designs.com/SBBM and you'll get an exclusive listener offer of a turbocharged pack, which means you'll get on average 185% more designers responding to your brief. That's pretty good, huh? 2 ways to lighten your marketing load.
Small Business Big Marketing with Tim Reid.
Okay, now long-time listener Peter McIntosh has sent in a question. It goes like this. He says, "Hello, Timbo. We've exchanged emails before, and I love your show. There isn't anything else quite like it." Thank you, Peter. And we have. I recall your business, a lovely little guest house. I'm picturing up in the Scottish Highlands, the hills. I imagine it's cold and bleak, but you've got a warm log fire going. That's what I kind of how I picture it. Pete says, "I have a question that is maybe worth asking a few entrepreneurs, as I'm sure everyone has different answers, and I'm sure many others are wondering the same thing. My wife and I run a guest house in Scotland, and I seem to be busy all the time, as I'm sure all small business owners are." Well, that's certainly the truth. Although I could argue it's a bit of a limiting belief. Are we busy on the right things? But we'll come to that. He goes on to say, "But I am very keen to start an additional business or income stream." Nice, Pete. Like the way you're thinking, mate. "So how do I create the time to start up a second business? How do I detach myself from the original business? How have others done it, and what have they learned in the process? Or because I have been doing this for 8 years and have always pushed to improve the business, am I the kind that cannot take the next step and let my original business suffer? This is my biggest line of thought at the moment, and I thought I'd air it with you. Thanks, Timbo." Thank you, Peter. Mate, there's lots of questions there, but I like the way you're thinking. You're thinking long term, right? And as you know, you can't sell your hours forever. Well, you can, but you're going to feel unfulfilled. And it is a great idea to find time to start a second income stream, and maybe one, just maybe, that doesn't rely on you selling your hours. So your main question there, Pete, is how do you create more time? Let me give you some insights from my own personal experience and having spoken to so many entrepreneurs and successful small business owners over the 5 years that I've been doing this show. Number one, delegate things you dislike doing. Sounds like you're a bit of a control freak, Pete, I should say, and you need to give some stuff up. So that stuff you don't like doing, even though you've not yet found someone to do it for you, you need to work harder to put someone in place that can do those things you dislike. Number two, identify tasks that don't need doing. Are you doing things because you've always done them? You know, look hard at what you're doing and remove those things entirely that don't need doing, that aren't producing a sufficient business outcome for you. And just stop doing them. Test this. You don't have to, it's not set in concrete. Test it. And if it works, great. If it doesn't, go back to doing them. Number three, analyze how you spend your downtime. I honestly believe that us motivated business owners, we use our downtime effectively. Pete, are you putting your feet up in front of the TV? Which is okay. We've all got to find time to just do nothing, to switch off. But maybe there's some downtime time in your life where you could be allocating to building that second income stream. Got to work hard to make life a bit easier sometimes. Now, I have just put inside the Small Business Big Marketing Forum an exclusive members-only interview with Kate Christie from Time Stylers, a business that she promises to find you 30 hours extra per month using her 5-step process. Hey, listen to this, a little synopsis of how she came to develop it. She says, "I developed a process that helped me track my time. Next, I identified a series of simple, smart, and most importantly to me, sustainable solutions to manage my time smarter. After tracking my changes over a period of 90 days, I was ecstatic to have gained back 30 hours a month, which I've been able to sustain. what my process showed me was that having it all did not mean I had to do it all. Hey? And that's the premise of Kate's 5-step process to finding more time. And she goes into detail of each of those 5 steps in this exclusive members-only interview that sits inside the Small Business Big Marketing Forum. Now, and you can find that by going to a new domain, guys. I haven't shared this one before. It'll redirect you straight to the forum page. Go to crankmymarketing.com, and that'll take you to the forum page where you can become a member real quick. Now, Pete, if you do find that extra time, some ideas for you to generate the extra income, look into affiliate marketing. And that's where you sell someone else's product online and generate a commission. So find some products that do offer affiliate commission and that are of interest to you, and you may well have some success. There's lots of great teachings on affiliate marketing online. Just Google it. You could start a podcast, Pete, on your local area. I reckon you know a lot about your local area, and you could well get some tourism sponsors, tourism operators to sponsor that show. Or you could start a forum for other guest house owners to kind of come together like I have with the Small Business Big Marketing Forum, develop that community where people can hang out, share their experiences, ask questions, and you could do that as well, Pete. Hey, Pete, thanks for your question, mate, and I wish you all the luck, and do report back if you make some breakthroughs in finding that extra time to develop a second income. Okay, now, speaking of the forum, I made the funniest faux pas yesterday. I had a new member join, and when a new member joins, the first thing they do is introduce themselves in a little section of the forum called the Welcome Mat. And Johnny Leary introduced himself, and I got in there and said, "Welcome, Johnny." He part of his introduction was that he kind of apologised for his website, that it wasn't up to scratch, which amazing how many people do that. Anyway, I said to Johnny, "G'day, Johnny, and welcome to the Inner Circle. I've always admired you blokes." He's a builder who can build large things that people live in. "Mate, I've seen worse websites." Well, one is what I wrote. What I meant to say was, "Well done." And Johnny wrote, "Geez, Tim, I know the website's crook, but I didn't think it was that bad." So it's funny. 1 letter difference, and it was a criticism and as opposed to a pat on the back. So, Johnny, mate, I want to officially apologise for that little faux pas. And I'm glad you saw the humour in it after I explained myself. Again, listeners, head over to crankmymarketing.com if you want to join us inside the Inner Circle, inside the Small Business Big Marketing Forum, and move your business forward with some really smart marketing.
Small Business Big Marketing with Tim Reid. smallbusinessbigmarketing.com.
Okay, let's get stuck in to today's guest, a funeral director none less. Now, I got introduced to her by a listener, Jeremy Dawes. And I'll give your business a plug, Jeremy, jezweb.net. Jeremy says, "Hi, Tim, you said somewhat jokingly that you would like to interview an undertaker, and it caught my attention, as I know a successful woman in Melbourne who started a funeral business less than 2 years ago and has made great strides in what seems to be a fairly old boys network industry. Carly has an interesting story and has made her reputation online with web and social her primary marketing, and it's well bonded to her personality." Fantastic, fantastic insights there already, Jeremy. So I thought, you know what, I do want to interview a funeral director because, that's tough. People don't want to buy funerals. We're forced to buy them. So how does Carly go about her marketing? That was my big question. And added to that, why did she go and start a funeral business when she was in corporate IT for 20 years and her husband was a police officer? Oh, so many questions. Let's get stuck right in. Here's Carly.
They're creepy and they're kooky, mysterious and spooky. They're all together ooky, the Adams family.
Carly Dalton from GreenHaven Funerals, welcome to the Small Business Big Marketing Show.
Thank you, Tim.
Now, I don't reckon this is, having already had a quick chat to you offline, I don't think this is going to be too sombre a discussion, Carly.
No, I don't think so at all.
You know, you're 18 months into starting your first funeral business. You must have some pretty funny stories already, I'm guessing. Have you got a quick short story you can share with us?
Look, I think if I look back at the last 18 months at what we've done, really, I could write a small novel. You know, you think about, we've done 175 funerals in 18 months, and every single funeral is like a small story. You know, different family dynamics, different situation where the deceased has passed away. And we've been asked to do pretty much absolutely everything from, you know, funerals in fun parks to paddocks, and I think the biggest one we've done is in a basketball stadium with 800 people. So we went in just trying to provide a lovely service, and we've found ourselves to be, you know, event managers with all different sorts of dynamics and variables going on.
Well, I love you didn't finish that sentence because you earlier you said you're event managers for the deceased.
Yes.
Which is a great way to frame it. You know, like I think if we can frame our businesses in a way that's more emotional than it is rational, it brings it to life.
Yes.
Excuse the pun.
Yes. And look, you know, people, when my husband and I said we're going to start a funeral home, they said, "Oh my God, what are you thinking?" And I said, "Look, you know, I really believe that funeral service belongs with smaller business. It's a very, very you need a very personal service. The service needs to be very intimate and customized to the family and what they need, and it needs to reflect the life of the individual who's passed." So I really, you know, as much as I respect what the big corporate firms do, I don't know that they can provide the level of customized service that we can, and I know that we've become very famous for in a very short period of time.
Well, I really want to find out how you did that. But before we do that, before we get into the marketing of funerals,
yes.
I'm really keen. You had a long background in corporate.
Yes.
Your husband is an ex-policeman.
Yes.
You both got fed up with the kind of working for the man way of life, I'm guessing.
Yes.
But you could have done, it might have been 3 or 4 things that you could have chosen to do. Why funerals?
I had a very short, or not short stint. I ran my own HR consulting business for 3 years prior to starting the funeral home. So I love the idea of working for myself, going out, developing relationships and networking, and, you know, really going out there and working very hard. And if I didn't obviously work hard and provide a good service, we didn't have any money and we can't pay the bills. So I think I got a taste for that. But I guess what I thought is what is there out there in terms of providing a service where people ring you because they really, really need you. They have a situation where they've got no idea what to do, and when you have someone pass away, many families find themselves in that situation. They have no idea. They're really stressed and upset, and they just need your help. And what we've found is, you know, we can help. You know, we know what to do. We can take away that stress, and we can get everything organised for them so they can celebrate their loved one's life.
Okay. Yeah. So that kind of played into your strength, your passion of helping people when they're kind of under the pump, or, you know, not in the best of places,
yes.
the best of mind space. But you and hubby must have sat around the kitchen table. He's coming out of the police force and gone, yeah, it's funerals all the way. Did you look at the industry and go, it's under-marketed or over-marketed, or it's a boys' club and there's a gap for us? What did that conversation sound like?
Well, I think I was probably the one who came up with the idea and said, I think, you know, I would like to run a funeral home or open a funeral home. And my husband said, "Oh my God, what are you thinking?" And I said, "Look, you know, I really think it's something we could add value to." And I said, "Your skills translate directly across dealing with people in crises, you know, getting them calm, getting them focused on what to do next." I said, "We're both problem solvers." So Tim was a problem solver in the police force. And in my role as a HR person, you're always solving problems with people who are, you know, stressed out or, you know, different situations. So we're both very good at problem solving and working with individuals in all different sorts of situations. So
great.
Yeah, and it really just fits the whole work. I love every element of this work. Tim's.
When you just, before you go on,
Yes.
Carly, like you've just gone through, you've identified both of your skill sets,
Yes.
and you've not even laterally thinking doesn't even come into it, because you've just identified an industry that plays right into what you're good at.
Yes.
Different to IT, different to the police, but so many of the same things, strengths are required. So I got to know then. You go, okay, funeral director it is.
Yes.
How do you start a funeral home?
Look, for me, when I first travelled down this path, I could not find any information anywhere. No one would speak to me. No one would let me know how this industry works. So I went to
Closed community.
absolutely closed. So there was a trade show on in Sydney, and I cashed in some frequent flyer points, and I flew up there, and I was like a kid in a lolly shop. You know, I spent the whole day out there talking to all the suppliers, and I was telling everyone I'm going to open a funeral home, and they looked at me like I was a nut. You know,
Did they? Were they down on you, negative towards you, didn't want another one, or just thought you were crazy?
I think they just thought I was quite peculiar. And, but I had all these show bags and all their business cards and brochures and catalogues and price lists. And I just said, look, you know, it might take us a little while, but I'll be calling you, you know, and asking for samples and whatever. And I remember meeting a business development manager of a major coffin manufacturer. And I said, I'm going to open a funeral home. And he said, yeah, right. That sounds like a great idea. Good luck with that.
Sarcasm right there.
Yeah. And the next thing, he knew I was working in a branch of one of the bigger corporate funeral homes. Mm-hmm. And I said, hi, you know, remember me? And he's like, oh, my God, you were serious. I said, yeah, no, I'm deadly serious, pardon the pun, but this is something I was very, you know, focused on. And then the next time I called him, we'd opened GreenHaven, and I was asking for his catalogue and price list. And he thought,
love it.
Yeah. So it's, you know, I think it's not the sort of industry that welcomes you in, that's for sure. But it's
would have been dead quiet, I guess.
It was dead. Well, when we put the shingle out and said we do funerals, and we had a place to work from and everything, you know, lined up, it was very quiet. But the phone started to ring after a week. You know, we were really surprised. So,
okay, well, I'm keen to understand how that happened. But before you do that, you're a funeral director it is, you've headed up to Sydney on some frequent flyer points, you've attended the expo, you've got all these business cards, contacts.
Yes.
You've got all these people going, you're crazy.
Yes.
I'm guessing 90% of the people you met going, you're mad, you're crazy, it'll never work.
Yes.
Might have been the odd person who said, good luck, you know, I hope it works for you.
Yes.
You've come back, you've maintained your excitement.
Yes.
Do you register a business name and hang a shingle out, or have you got to do some training of some sort?
Yeah, well, I went off and did a certificate in funeral service operations. So I felt very strongly, and I guess given my background in HR and training, you know, I think if you're going to follow a certain path, you need to undertake the training as well to ensure that technically you know what you're doing. So I went and invested a fair bit of money to go and do that course and go and work in a funeral home in Brisbane to get a practical placement as well. And with that course, you know...
Now, does that, because you're in Melbourne, did that mean you moved out of home for a while to make this happen?
Yeah, so I had to go for a couple of times up to Brisbane to do my practical placement. And then obviously you're studying by remote, but you have a weekly conversation with, you know, a funeral director who's, you know, third generation funeral director / trainer, who is engaged and, you know, is there to really walk you through all the elements of running a funeral home. You know, the legal requirements, the OH&S requirements, the technical, you know, how do you work in a mortuary? How do you manage a mortuary? And then, you know, the practical, when I went up to Brisbane, I actually got to work in a mortuary and able to see different cases and do different preparations as well.
So I suppose, I mean, the first time you saw a dead body, or that's a tautology, isn't it?
Yes.
A body. That wasn't in your own business. You'd become used to that.
Yeah. So I guess when I was working with the larger corporate firm, you do some work experience with that, and you know, you had to sort of go into the mortuary, and I loved it. You know, it's probably one of the most fascinating parts of the work that I do, and something that I would hate to ever give up, because for me, being able to you know, prepare someone for their funeral and, you know, let their family view them one more time is one of the best parts of this work. It's fantastic to be able to do that.
So you're 18
Yes.
months in, never run a funeral home
No.
before. The phone rang within the first
Yes.
week. How'd that feel?
We didn't. I think.
Weren't there?
Look, I don't think we believed it. And when they said,
Yeah.
"Is that the funeral director?" we said, "Oh, yes, it is." And they said, "Oh, Mum's passed away. Can you help?" And I said, "Yes, we can." And basically, I couldn't wait to just say, "Look, where do you live? I'm going to come and see you right now, and we'll pick up Mum and look after her, and we'll come and look after you, and everything will be fine. Don't worry." I just couldn't wait to see them. So. I was probably too excited, but I was so excited that actually someone wanted to ring us and ask for help.
How'd they find you? Like, how did they physically find you? Was it a sign that you had? Or
Look, for us, the internet has been amazing, So
Right.
we had a really good website that we, spent a lot of time writing the content and really just putting our personal touch on the website. We've had a Facebook page from day one, and we've used Google AdWords like every other funeral home does, in Australia. But I think, it's the internet
So that's a general statement. The internet is amazing. I mean, it's changed marketing forever. But you've got a good website. I'm looking at it now. It's
Yes.
thorough. What part of the internet has been so amazing for you? What have you? I'm not sure how. I don't want to geek my listeners out, but have you spent a lot of time on the back end with the metadata? Have you just created lots of amazing content? What part has been amazing?
Look, I think, the website, the company that helped me to build the website, they spent a lot of time optimizing each page for keywords, that sort of thing. One thing that we've got onto very quickly was a business called WOMO, Word of Mouth Online. And I guess you get a feel for when you've looked after a family and if you think that they would like to share their experience using us as a funeral service providers. We've asked them, would they write a referral or a testimonial? We can't put those testimonials on there. They have to do that themselves. So it's a third-party managed site. But for us, it's been amazing because families volunteer. They say, I want to write a recommendation, on your business and the service you provide. And they go there. We point them in the direction, say, look, this is what we use. And that comes up now higher than our website does sometimes, that page with the referrals.
Wow. Now, you can't put testimonials on your site because is that an industry compliance thing?
If you look on our website, it's got the widget where the WOMOs come through. I can't touch that. So if people want to write a bad review, a good review, whatever, they write it up there. But it's we just say, look, don't write it directly to us. Put it on this Word of Mouth Online website, and that'll come scrolling through our website. That's just how it's set up. But
yeah, fantastic. Yeah. Do you have the opportunity to respond
Absolutely,
to those?
and we do.
Yeah, that's powerful.
And it's been really good because it gives people confidence that even though we're a small operation, we really do care. We take the time to understand what they want in a celebration of life service, and we go out of our way to make everything exactly how they want. So, we don't do, thousands of funerals a year. And, we really, we're set up, we're only small, but the families that do come to us get the best of service and the best of care. So, and it's there, the testimonies are there,
How have you gone about figuring out what your offer is? Because that you could say, well, that's a pretty obvious question. It's a funeral. People need, a coffin and a service and a venue, and there's certain boxes that need to be ticked. But what does I'm sure you offer this amazing personalised service which sets you apart. But what else what does set you apart from what would be a very crowded marketplace?
Look, I think we've got a bit of a focus on green and environmentally friendly style funerals. So we do offer a range in that area, and we find that that's becoming of interest to a larger part of the market.
Okay. Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll put my skeptic's hat on here. Hang on, I'll just get it.
Yeah.
Is it people really, really going, I want a green funeral is?
Yeah. So really, I mean, if you talk green, all it is using a coffin or a shroud, a coffin made from sustainable natural materials, no glue, no varnish, combustible handles perhaps, or just all wood with, no chemicals or anything like that. Or they want to be wrapped in a shroud, and we did that the other day with a lady, wrapped in a calico shroud before they're cremated in a wicker basket, or wrapped in a beautiful silk and hemp and calico shroud and placed in the ground, in a natural burial ground. So a lot of people, this is something that's of interest to a lot of people out there. Everyone's trying to reduce their carbon footprint. It's something of interest to, a big part of the marketplace, and they want to do that in death as well.
So therefore, okay, so your green is something that people are asking for. How else do you figure out what your offer is?
I always, when I'm sitting with the family, I always start with a blank. I went off and trained to be a funeral celebrant as well. So, not only am I looking after their loved one in the mortuary, preparing them for their funeral, but I can write the story of their life and create the ceremony. But I always start with a blank piece of paper and say, well, how do you want to feel when this ceremony is finished? Do you want to feel thankful? Do you want to feel, really happy that you had a chance to be in this person's life?
Start at the end.
And then work back. And then we can say, what sort of person were they? Would they have liked a church? Would they have liked a chapel? Do they want something out there like a yacht club to do their, service in? Would they like, we've got about 25 different locations in Melbourne that we hire according to the family's needs and the personality of the individual. And we were out at Keilor at the Over Newton Castle the other day in their back sort of part of their garden, in amongst the trees. The sun was shining and it was an outdoor ceremony and it was just stunning. And this person loved nature and loved the garden. It was them, so yeah.
Right.
We really... Yeah.
I love the idea, starting at the end and just figuring out what do you want to walk away with. I don't think enough business owners ask that, no matter what the industry. What does success look like to you? I think is such a great question, and then you go, okay, well, if that's what they're going to judge, if that's how they're going to judge us, then let's figure out what we need to do to get us there.
Yeah.
Great. Internet's been good, Carly. Facebook, social media. What else are you doing from a marketing point of view? Do you have to drop a load onto advertising or any kind of other because it's a local business? So letterbox drops or what?
We haven't done anything like that. We don't have time. But I guess what else we've been doing is trying to we have identified who our main partners in the community are, and of course it's other healthcare providers, so palliative care, nursing homes, people caring for the aged, community health centres, and we've developed a training in grief, loss and bereavement. And, it's something that I've developed with a palliative care trainer, and she's a nurse and she trains palliative care workers. And so we've got something there. We invested a bit of money in it, but we deliver that training for free to any nursing home who wants it, any community centre, any RSL, anyone that would benefit from grief, loss, bereavement training. We offer that training. So we're more of a community partner rather than just someone who's there to look after, the deceased in people's family. We're there to help afterwards, so that they can maybe just work through their whatever they're feeling as well,
You could sponsor the local bowls club because I reckon that's the game before.
Yeah, we do that, and football clubs, and
football clubs. They're just young blokes running around.
Their families come and see them.
Yeah, true. Oh wow! So, what would you, from a marketing budget point of view, what do you think you'd spend a year on? Well, you're only in your second year, aren't you?
Well, I guess easily. Probably about at least 30,000, I would imagine.
Yep.
If you think of Google AdWords and then some sponsorship money, and we've just done all the new signs on our new shop, easily 30,000. But I don't know. Yeah.
Was real estate an important marketing strategy? Like, are you on a high street or are you on a back road?
Well, we've only recently just. I guess leased an office and it's on a high. It is on a very busy road, but that's only been a recent thing for us. So we've had a.
And has that changed? Has it increased inquiry?
Well, we haven't been there long enough to. We've only been there a month, and this month probably, out of the 16 funerals we've done, 15 have been referrals and one has been off the internet. So it's not a good month to say, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. What do you do? Referrals, that's significant. Like 15 out of 16 have been referrals in the last month. So what do you encourage referrals? Do you just let them happen? And what do you do for the referee, if anything?
Look, I guess we don't really do a lot. I mean, if I look at who's referred us, we've had some palliative care centres giving out, they've asked for brochures and they're giving it out to their families. We've had some hospitals who have, with the children's units and that sort of thing, they've been giving out our brochures as well, because we do have a bit of a speciality and focus in babies and children's funerals. And then there's been a lot of families who've come back and we've started to look after. We've done a funeral for one of their family members in the last 12 months and they've come back because someone else has passed away. Right. So the families have said, no, you're our funeral home and we're coming to you. We need your help again. So
now, what keeps you up at night? You're 18 months in. I'm sure it sounds like it's been a pretty good journey so far, but is there anything where you're just going, oh, gee, you and hubby sit down at night time and get the shakes?
Look, I think for me, it's like any small business owner, you like doing, well, I like doing everything in the business. There's not one thing I don't like doing, but I know if we're going to grow even a little bit bigger, I need to work out what I'm willing to let go of. And
you're a control freak?
Well, probably you'd call it that. But but I genuinely like all the bits that go with this business. So, it's very difficult. I'd love to. Well, I know I probably need to give away the mortuary care side of things and hire an embalmer or someone to work in the mortuary, but I just need to know they're going to do a nicer job that I would do, and that the deceased people would go out looking and smelling beautiful and ready for their loved ones to see them, and so every bit is important, and I love doing all that, and I just got to not be so involved in everything.
Are you employing now?
We have some casuals who work with us, and they're wonderful, and they love the work as much as we do. But it's because the work is it fluctuates so much. You don't always have the work available every week to put on a full time, but we will get there at some point.
Just out of interest, where do you buy a hearse?
On the internet. There's a couple of websites that sell secondhand funeral equipment, and you just go there and they've got hearses for sale. And
did you take a few hearses for a spin before you decided on the one you've got?
I did. I absolutely did.
Yes.
And our hearse is fantastic. He's a country funeral director's hearse, and his name is Jenkins because he's like a butler. He's always in service, and he's just fantastic. He's so good.
Lots of leg room in the back. I'm sure you could lie down, I suppose.
You could if you wanted to. If you had the inclination or the desire to, you absolutely could. But he's great, and we do most of our own transfers. We've got a company that helps us out if we're on a funeral and someone passes and we need to, transfer them and bring them into our care. We've got another company that helps us, and they're just gorgeous. And, we love it that they're part of our team because the families love them as well, Have you been back to that expo in Sydney where all the naysayers were to just kind of hand out your card? Well, it was actually last weekend and I just couldn't go because we were too busy. Too busy. Oh, I love it. I would have sent someone up. I know. But, I think I've run out of leave passes because we've done a fair amount of travelling around a little bit just with I'm part of the Independent Funeral Directors Association now. So, it's I can only spend so much time away leaving the husband to run everything. Is that association, is that a mandatory thing, or have you chosen to, what are you, sitting on the board of it? I'm the Victorian State Rep. And is that a good business move? I think I'm the type of person that, I'm very, very training focused, very professional development focused anyway. And really, for me, being part of this means that I can contribute some of my skills in training and professional development to this industry and trying to promote a bit of a culture within the small funeral homes within Victoria. A way of working together and just sharing our knowledge, I don't want to go back to what it was like when I started, where no one shared any information. I would rather share what I know. And I have a couple of other female funeral directors that I'm good friends with. They have their funeral homes. I have mine. But they'll ring me up and they'll say, I've got a case. This is happening. That's happening. What would you do? And I say, look, try this, try that. Get this particular product. Use this, use that. And we help each other, so.
Yeah, well, that just doesn't happen enough, Carly.
No.
Just extraordinary how I had a guest, my guest last week. He started, a fellow by the name of Reid, Cicluna, and he started the Video Easy franchise all those years ago, and he did share competitive knowledge. In fact, what he used to do was, if he didn't have a video in stock, he would send the customer down to the local Blockbuster store.
Yeah.
So, and you don't hear enough about this, do you? Enough of sharing your knowledge, and there's enough to go around. There's enough to go around.
If we've had a week where we were very busy and dare I say, fully booked. I couldn't take on another family and give them the amount of care and attention that I wanted to. So I rang a friend of mine who's also a female funeral director, and I said, look, can you help? And she goes, yeah, absolutely. And I introduced the family to her. I would rather do that than let this family go to someone else, that I wouldn't know. At least it's a warm introduction and they know that they're going to be looked after.
Great. Oh, Carly, I really appreciate you sharing all this. And from what I can tell, funeral director businesses are a family concern. So, and they go on for generations. So you may well be starting something that's, if you come back in a couple of thousand years' time, it could still be going.
Well, I've got a 6-year-old who's quite interested, but my 13-and-a-half-year-old is not that keen, unless there's pocket money involved. But
that's fair enough.
Exactly. But look,
Brilliant entrepreneur.
It's something that I hope to be doing for at least another 30 years. So
good on you. I wish you all the well. Carly Dalton from GreenHaven Funerals, thanks for being part of the Small Business Big Marketing Show.
Thank you, Tim.
They're creepy and they're kooky, mysterious and spooky. They're all together ooky, the Addams Family.
You got to love the Addams Family. They are creepy and they are definitely crawly. Hey, team, I hope you enjoyed that interview. I want to share my top 3, in fact, top 4 learnings from that little discussion with Carly. And these are brought to you by the good folk at Net Registry and 99designs.com/SBBM. Learning number 1 from my chat with Carly: optimize each page of your website. Okay, you got to do it. Complete your metadata so Google know what every single page of your website is about. Google don't see your website, they see pages. If you don't know how to do it, go to Net Registry. Give Net Registry a call or email them. They offer that service. Number 2, I love that WOMO service that Carly's using to get testimonials. And importantly, what she's doing is responding to each testimonial, good, bad, or indifferent, having that conversation, engaging with the people who have said something about your business. That's a fantastic idea. And if you look at Carly's website, greenhavenfunerals.com.au, you'll see that feed coming from WOMO with all the testimonials on it. Tip number 3, help your competitors out. Hey, that's kind of, that's a weird one, but I like that. Help your competitors out. If you've got overflow, bump them off to your competitors. Hey, that's some of you might struggle getting your head around that, but it can only come back. I was going to say, it won't bite you on the bum. It'll only come back and do good things for you in the future. Bit of woo-woo there. And number 4, be opportunistic. Carly actually took the chance for that interview there and then. I rang her. She rang me back. She said she'd love to do the interview. I was going to set up a time for 1 or 2 weeks going forward to give a chance to prepare. But I got the sense that she was so excited about the business. I said, hey, Carly, why don't we do the interview right now? And she said, yeah, let's do it. No better time than now. Be opportunistic in your business, guys. Look for chances when they come your way. Don't put things off. I'd love to know what you got out of that little fireside chat with Carly, the funeral director. Head over to the show notes for episode 211 at smallbusinessbigmarketing.com and leave a comment. I respond to every single one of them and would love to hear from you. Okay, inspirational quote of the week time. This one is from Joseph Pierce. No idea who Joseph is, but he's a good fellow because he said something highly intelligible. Joseph's quote is this: "To live a creative life, we must lose our fear of being wrong." Love that quote. Hope you did too. That brings us almost to the end of episode 211 of Australia and New Zealand's #1 marketing show. Got some great news on upcoming guests. Boy, oh boy. Personal trainer to the stars, Michelle Bridges, star of Biggest Loser, all-round superstar personal trainer. Excited to have Michelle coming on the show in coming weeks. I have got the founder of TEDx Melbourne. He's coming on to share his journey. I've got a crazy social entrepreneur from a brand of toilet paper called Who Gives a Crap to tell his story. Got the founder of this very cool tracking device. He went about crowdfunding and raised over 6,000% over target. Was hoping for $20,000, raised well over $1 million. He's going to explain how he did that. Hey, as you know, this show's been brought to us by netregistry.com.au and 99designs.com/SBBM. Please use their services. It means this show will hang around longer, and it means your marketing load will be lightened. You want to join the forum? I'm in there every day answering your marketing questions. Head over to crankmymarketing.com. Until then, may your marketing be the best marketing. Bye for now.
You've been listening to the Small Business Big Marketing Show with Tim Reid. Want more marketing goodness? Then visit smallbusinessbigmarketing.com.